right. Thank you, Dr. Ariel Provasoli, for being here today, willing to meet with me and talk about your life experience and how that can help me as a student and all the other students in the world who are pursuing the field of chiropractic. So thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And, this interview is really about kind of surviving chiropractic school, but you mentioned that you just got back from a service trip, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the service trip that you went on, what happened, what were the big insights that you had?
Yeah, so I have been traveling to Jamaica for the last 4 years to kind of co-facilitate. Well, the last 3 years I've been co-facilitating a self-care and service retreat with Dr. Tracy Wright, and she's from Globalivity, and she has practiced all over the world, and she had a vision to create a chiropractic service retreat that also integrated self-care into the retreat. And so I graduated from school at Life West in June of 2013. And I went as a new graduate, and I ended up falling in love with Jamaica, which I knew I was already in love with, and falling in love with Tracy. And we were just like long lost sisters. And we stayed in touch, and she invited me. She's invited everyone back, really. Anyone who's been on the trip, she wants them to come serve again. And I've been going, and each year, each summer, and it's just been an incredible experience. This one was incredibly amazing because she just had a baby. And so we had 4-month-old James with us on the trip. And it was a smaller group. There were 3 students from Life in Atlanta, and they were all incredible students. And I would love to see more Life West students because it's been a little while since there's been people from the West Coast.
Yeah, let's make that happen. Come on, Life West students, get your act together.
Yeah, yeah, it's a magical trip. I keep going back because every time I go, it's an opportunity for me to recenter myself. I came back the first year, my heart was just so open, and I was finally in this place where I was like, oh, I'm able to practice what I learned inside of school, but more the stuff I learned outside of school as a practitioner and a healer. And I'm able to give those services and not think about the money aspect, and people are just receiving what I have to share. And that just like sent me on this trajectory of like where I knew I wanted my practice to go. So
yeah, that's so powerful. And I wanted to dive in a little bit more to the self-care aspect, because I feel like as a student, that is so key. It's so hard to find self-care rituals, and maybe you had rituals as a student, but what are your rituals now, and how is this this service trip really helped with that?
Let's see. As a student, I didn't live in Hayward. I was really clear that I needed some separation from school and the rest of my life. And it wasn't that I compartmentalized. I just needed to be closer to my community, which was in San Francisco and Oakland, Berkeley area. And it was really important for me to have access to nature. And I live near Lake Merritt. And so that was something like walking the lake and being able to study around the lake was really crucial to my well-being. And it still is. Being able to go up into the hills and go hiking and hang out by the lake and just be in nature has been something that's been really important for me. I think another element of self-care is I come from a history of chiropractic. My dad's a chiropractor, my mom's a therapist. And I worked in a massage therapy practice right after my undergrad years. And I had always had some form of self-care body work. And that wasn't necessarily something that I was getting so much of when I was in school and a student. And I also felt really isolated from the community that I was in as a new practitioner when I, was just figuring out what I was doing. And I think looking back, I would have probably benefited from getting more body work that wasn't just chiropractic, because I was getting tons of chiropractic, whether it was from students, we were practicing with each other, or whether it was seeing other chiropractors, and experiencing like what being under regular care is with another chiropractor. But massage, acupuncture, pelvic floor health, like what else? My abdominal massage. Like I've been just introduced to so many different modalities that have helped with my own growth and healing, that I feel like had I looked into that as a student, I might have, had a different experience, a different understanding of what other people are doing as well.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning the importance of all those different modalities. I think we can sometimes get, we can kind of get stuck in the idea that chiropractic is the only thing out there. And there's so many other self-care rituals, and there's so many other amazing practitioners out there that can really help. One of the things that you just mentioned that I was curious about was your kind of feeling of isolation when you first got out into practice. And so that's something I was hoping you could speak to a little bit.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I felt isolated when I first got into practice. I had kind of a unique experience when I first got out. I went back up. My dad's in Washington State. He's in Olympia, Washington, and he's selling his practice. So I'm just going to put that out there. He's really ready to move on, and he wants to sell it to the right person. So I keep telling him to link up with somebody from Life West, because I know that there's lots of Northwest people. I think you're from the Northwest, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm from Ashland, Oregon. So
okay. Oh, I love Ashland. So he's in Olympia, and so I went to Olympia for the summer, and I worked in his practice, and I had the opportunity to learn a lot more about what he does and how his practice was run. And I came back, and I had no clue what I was doing. I was like high off of this Jamaica service trip and relaxed from, spending time with my family and friends in the Northwest and just absorbing the nature. I think I spent the whole month of July laying in the backyard reading books and just vegging out. So when I came back to the Bay Area, I was like, I had no idea. Oh, this is my cat. She's interested. So I had no idea what I was going to do. And I ended up kind of just reaching out to as many people as I possibly could. I knew that Elizabeth Welch she's just going to hang out, I think. I knew that Elizabeth Welch had reopened her practice, and I was intrigued by that because she had been one of my mentors in school. And I knew she was in a new space. And I took her to lunch and just asked her what her situation was. And she was not really looking for, anyone to necessarily share her office with, but she was super open to it. And she made it possible for me to create my own practice, share space with her. So I sublease space from her right now, and build my practice. And it was a really, there was a little bit of isolation in that, but I also had a lot of friends that I'd graduated with in my tiny little class of 13 people, who we stayed really well connected, and we were able to, have the conversation like, well, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? And just really help each other to learn about what, the steps that needed to happen. Cause I feel like every single person has to recreate this wheel of like, okay, you have to, take the test to get your license, then you get your license, then there's these steps, and they tell you how to do that in school. But then when you're out, it's like, wait, I'm in the real world. What do I have to do? Nobody's holding my hand. So just doing, getting through all of that stuff, and then the process of opening a practice. And I did it with very little money. So that's something I really want to share. I opened a practice. There's a little bit of feedback. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I opened a practice with $3,000. And given I'm renting, I'm subleasing space from someone, so I don't have all my own equipment, it's possible to start anything, I think. And that's kind of like something that's really important for me to share. You don't have to have a ton of money if you have the right space and the right situation. I feel like the universe rolled out a red carpet for me, and I was just kind of able to do it. She wants some attention. So that was has been really impactful. I think the other component of that, though, is that I am in practice alone, and I see Elizabeth a couple times a week, and we talk, and I get to bounce ideas off of her, and but I have had to really maintain my network of chiropractic friends just so that I can feel supported, because I am alone in the office. Last July, I hired an assistant, and she's only in the office 1 day a week, but it's been really, really incredible to have somebody who's come in and just done all of the things that I have basically stopped doing for my business, as it's grown. Just kind of things that I've just let fall to the wayside a little bit. And, it's just nice to have someone else kind of pick up the pieces and participate in a way that I'm not necessarily participating.
Yeah, that's great that you've been able to create a community, even though it sounds like it's remote. It sounds like it's, other students you were in school with that you're able to bounce ideas off of, who are kind of in a similar situation that you are, and that you've been able to kind of maintain that community. Because I feel like that is one of the biggest blessings of chiropractic school, is that we are kind of in a bubble. Like, we're in a community of like-minded people. And then when we graduate, we may or may not have that community still available to us. And so that's so powerful that you've been able to maintain that sense of community. I think that is so important, and perhaps slightly undervalued.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that we're really fortunate to have social media, because it's a great way to stay connected. I also think that you have to kind of continue to maintain those friendships and those relationships from school, and mentorships. I think it's really important to stay in touch with doctors who have been in practice longer than us. And having someone that you're able to ask questions to. Like, I have my dad, and I have Elizabeth, and I have, other chiropractors in the BGI community, because that's the style of, kind of some of the foundation of the work that I do. But yeah, it's important to have a community, whether it's the chiropractors that you visited in school, whether it's here in the Bay Area or someplace else, where you're looking to open a practice, but just creating those positive relationships. I think the other thing that I've, experienced being out of school is that pretty much all chiropractors are really open to sharing information. I haven't come, and maybe that's the circle that I run in, but I don't feel like there's a mine kind of feeling to people's work. I'm learning new technique stuff all the time. I'm learning, new ways of running my front desk, and I just changed my paperwork a couple months ago, and that was because I was inspired by another chiropractor that shared her work with me. So there's a lot of opportunity, and it's really important to I just maintain those relationships. So
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like one of the things that I love, or that I'm really attracted to, is asking great questions. I feel like being able to ask really good questions is just one of the most versatile and helpful skills in the entire world. And so I feel like if you're able to ask really good questions, then you open yourself up to more of those mentorship opportunities, or you open yourself up to getting the knowledge and wisdom that you need to help move things forward when they may be stuck. And so was that a skill that you've always had, just being kind of curious and humble and able to ask good questions, or did that develop while you're in school or later on?
I just want to point out that analogy that you just, well, it was a little bit of an analogy that you just gave, was exactly, was a really good approach to just chiropractic in general, right? So we ask questions and we trust our intuition, and that's where we get some of our answers as healers, So I just wanted to point that out, because that was really beautifully stated. I think that I definitely learned to ask questions in school. I probably learned to ask questions a long time ago. just because of the way I was raised and who I was raised with. And being a chiropractic kid, I think that that's probably what influenced me more. And then getting into chiropractic as a profession, as a student, and then a profession is something that definitely, you know, we're rebels, and we are not accepted in the mainstream. And I freaking love that. And I love spreading the message that healing comes from within. There are so many people in the world that are open to that, that are needing to hear that. The information is so much more accessible in this day and age. And I think it's really important that we communicate it in a way that's open and accepting, and not marginalizing people based on what they know or they don't know. So yeah, I think that as practitioners, we have to continue to ask questions as well. You know, our own personal questions for our own lives, as well as, you know, what we're doing as doctors and how we're relating to the people that we're serving.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up about being a rebel, because I feel like the reason I came to chiropractic school is because I want to be part of a healthcare revolution. I feel like we've been going down the same road over and over, and people are just getting sicker and sicker. And so it was just really important to me to put my energy in and engage in a way that helps to, you know, create this revolution, so to speak. And so I'm just wondering, from you, like who are the innovators? Who are the people who have really shaped your thinking process, and you feel like are constantly kind of pushing the edge and constantly kind of pushing chiropractic to the forefront of medicine?
Okay, I'm not gonna dissect that. People who I feel like, there's such a broad spectrum, right? I look at the people that I studied with while I was in school: Arnaud, Jay Comerick, Elizabeth Welch, Sue Brown, Donnie Epstein, and all of that network world, Eric Rubin. So a lot of almost more esoteric relationship to what's happening in people's health, and how they're providing the service that we provide. And my dad's been really influential in my own, the way that I work with people, really. The way that it's like I have this broad spectrum of tools that I can use, and I can pick and choose what I want to use with each person. And, you know, my dad is on like this way opposite end of, he's a little bit more mechanistic, and he fits into like chiropractic medicine, you know, that term. And I have a kind of a hard time with that term, because I want to be like helping people heal. But he has been working with people for, 37 years from this other model, and he's super successful, and he is really highly respected. And so I look at him a lot. And when I can't figure something out, I go to him a lot, because he just has a wealth of information that I think is really, he's able to help me merge what it is that I'm doing, along with, what it is that he's doing that's more pain management type of work. So.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because that's something that I've said and I've experienced, is it's not what you do, it's who you are. Like the practitioners that I've gone to have done chiropractic, I've went to them because they're authentic, and their individual expression of chiropractic it is just right for me at that period of time in my life. And so I think that's so powerful that you're able to kind of notice that everybody has something to share, everybody has something to teach, and they're able to offer that in a unique way. So yeah.
And I think as a student also, I just want to add, it's so important to just explore as much as you can. And I think you hear that over and over again. But, you know, looking back, there were things that I was interested in as a student, and I never really explored them because I just didn't have the bandwidth. And I think even if I had just taken, you know, part of a day and gone to someone's office that did something that I wasn't never interested in doing, but just would like to have it as a resource and an understanding, you know, and being under care. I was towards the end of school, I was under AO care because I just wanted to experience what upper cervical was like. You know, I had never studied it directly other than what, you know, what we learn in school, a little teeny bit. And it was something that I was more interested in learning. So I feel like those are kind of, you know, like stepping out of the box, stepping out of your box and stepping out of maybe like the people that you hang out with in school. Not to say like hang out with people you don't want to hang out with in school, but by no means do that. Do not do that. But maybe checking out those doctors, you know, checking out those chiropractors. What is it that what is their message? You know, how can you integrate that into what you want to do or think you want to do?
Yeah, completely. I feel like stepping out of your box is the perfect way to facilitate growth, right? We grow a lot through putting ourselves in maybe uncomfortable situations or situations we wouldn't normally put ourselves in. Mm-hmm. And so it seems like that's such a great way, is to like expose yourself to as many experiences as possible, because then you build the ability to, you know, work with a lot of different patients, work with a lot of different people, because you've exposed yourself to so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. So we're out of time, and I want to honor your time. I just wanted to kind of finish, if there's any last thing that you were kind of thinking about when we set this up, of something you really wanted to share in terms of, you know, helping students, and then just also like in terms of the mindset of chiropractic, or the mindset that you've utilized in order to, you know, reach the level of success that you've reached up to this point.
If you are not doing affirmations, do them. And if you can't think of any, take someone else's and make them your own. And I think something that's like really pressing for me right now is some of the things that's going on in the country around race and where we're moving politically. And I think that chiropractic has a lot to offer communities of color. And I think that as students, it's also really important to, like we talked about the bubble, it's really important to educate yourself about communities of color, if you are not a person of color, so that you can learn how to support them, because they are going to be coming into your practice. And if you're not sensitive to some of the issues that are going on, it might not benefit the person on the table, and it might not benefit you as a human being, and it might not benefit your practice. So I think that it's really important that we learn how to work with all types of bodies and all types of things that are happening in people's lives. I'm kind of in the process of figuring out, I do some volunteer work in Oakland. And so I'm trying to figure out a process, and I'm also dealing with an injury. And so, yeah, I'm trying to figure out like, how can I offer my services in a way to the community here that's not going to hurt me more, so that I can just give and be active, because I feel like I have a lot of energy right now to give to these communities that are suffering in their hearts and stuff. And I think that chiropractic has the ability to provide a lot of healing, helping people to connect to their bodies a little bit deeper so that they can go out and serve their communities is really important to me. That's kind of one of my big purposes. So just just wanted to share that too.
Yes, that was such a great way to end it, because I think that is, I mean, that is the heart of it all. I think that's why so many students come to chiropractic school, is because they want to serve more, they want to give more, they want to make a bigger impact. And especially in the climate that we find ourselves in right now in the United States and across the world, there are so many groups of people who are underrepresented, underserved, and there's so much that we can do. And so thank you for reminding me and everybody who watches this of the power that we have in our hands.
Yeah. And come serve in Jamaica next summer, because their motto is out of one, or we are many out of one, something like that. And there's this, this feeling of one love, and it's ingrained in the people there. And so it's a great opportunity to come serve those people. So I'd be happy to share more information about it if people have questions.
How do people get in touch with you? Are you on Facebook? What's the best way?
I'm on Facebook. My practice is Flow Chiropractic and Family Wellness. And my website is berkeleyflow.com. So people can find me there. And I also am in a group called the Mind Body Bump Wellness Group. We're on Facebook as well, and it's multiple practitioners, and we co-host different events in the East Bay, family-focused events. My practice is predominantly perinatal and pediatrics. So, yeah, find me on Facebook.
Awesome. Well, that's perfect. And I'll put all this in the notes and everything, so people can just link to that and get in touch with you and leverage all the knowledge that you have. Thank you so much for sharing today.
Definitely. Thank you.